Hello gamers, and welcome to another episode of C&G Magazine's Rapid Reviews. I'm Tim Ashdown, senior contributor for Comics and Gaming Magazine, and I've got another 3 games I'm going to tell you about on this episode. The first title up for review today is DiRT Showdown, done by Codemasters Southam Studio. DiRT Showdown is an extreme rally race game which features tons of variety and easy to learn controls. I was absolutely astounded at the sheer amount of race types that were available right from the get-go. Every single race I played was different, or at least had some sort of tweak on the core mechanics. The controls were really easy to learn. Obviously, you're using your right trigger and left trigger for throttle and brake, but I found that the steering was easy to get the hang of, despite having to do a lot of drifting and other complicated race maneuvers like that. But they were really easy to pull off, and I had a lot of fun with it. Another thing I really enjoyed about this game was the interface design. Now, I know it's really strange to talk about the interface and just how that all works together, but this game had one of the neatest menu systems I've seen in a really long time. Blocks are falling from the sky with extreme music playing, and it was actually just really impressive to see how it all came together. The couple points I can knock off this game is I didn't really care for the soundtrack. It had far too much dubstep crammed in there and a bunch of obnoxious hardcore metal stuff, so it really had this kind of loud and just really difficult to listen to soundtrack that didn't have enough variety to keep me from getting bored with it. So it didn't take me very long to actually turn down the sound or turn down the music just so I didn't have to listen to it anymore. And not being a big fan of dubstep, I'm happy to see it go, and I don't think more games should put it in there. The next game up for review is Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2013. This is developed by Stainless Games and published, of course, by Wizards of the Coast, makers of Magic the Gathering. In Duels of the Planeswalkers 2013, there's several different modes. There's multiplayer, there's challenges, there's a campaign, plane chase mode, revenge mode, and lots of different ways for you to play Magic in this one package. The game is available for PC, PS3, Xbox, and for the first time ever, the Apple iPad. I spent most of my time with this game playing on the iPad, but did wander over to the PC version to see how that played out, and I will say that the game looks great on iPad and looks even better on PC because capable of better graphics. But essentially, they are the same game at the same price, so the choice is really up to you which platform you want to buy it on. One key feature that I really appreciated in the 2013 edition of Duels of the Planeswalkers was the deck editor. You can, as you play through the campaign, you'll unlock other cards, and you actually need to go into the deck editor to bring those cards into the decks you like to play with. It's really easy to use, and I really had a lot of fun just swapping out different cards and seeing how different synergies worked. So it was a great feature, and I'm glad to see that it continues to be a big part of the Duels of the Planeswalkers series. I also found this game to be really accessible for those who don't know how to play Magic. It's got a great tutorial that explains almost every mechanic, and you can even get certain tool tips with certain more specific mechanics as you play through the campaign. And playing through the campaign kind of gives you a little taste of all these different mechanics, so by the end of it, you're going to end up as a massive planeswalking wizard that is just destroying his friends with the basic decks. The game comes with several decks ranging from all the different colors in the Magic multiverse. And you can actually unlock premium and foil versions of these decks through microtransactions. But to unlock the decks themselves, all you have to do is play through the campaign. Overall, the game looks great on both PC and iOS. It is one of the more expensive titles you can find on the App Store. It runs about $9.99, but that's the same price on any platform. And it plays really well and does have a really, really great amount of polish to it for it being on a mobile device. And I was really glad to be able to play Magic on the go. One drawback to playing on the iPad is it does save your game while you're in the middle of a match. However, the trade-off is this will eat your iOS device's battery. So if you're playing on your iPad, make sure you have a full battery if you're going to be leaving it sitting there running Magic 2013 for a while. But some shorter battery life is a small price to pay for the great visuals and the great art you're going to get in Duels of the Planeswalkers 2013. Overall, I had a lot of fun with it. You can pick it up on any platform under the sun, and I recommend you do so. I give this game 88 out of 100. The last game up for rapid review is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. Before this game came out, I was really excited. I'm a huge Tony Hawk fan and have been ever since I was in high school, so I was really excited to see that the Hawk was back after taking a couple years off. Unfortunately, the game isn't as good as I was hoping it to be. The controls work fine, and it feels like you're playing the same game you were playing in high school, but on the downside, it feels like you're playing the same game you were playing in high school. So there's very little innovation here. The controls are fine, but there's nothing new about this experience. The old soundtrack is back for the most part. I'd say about 70% of the songs are back. So you got, hits by Run DMC and Anthrax and Goldfinger and bands like that. They were in the original Tony Hawk game, but they've also added a couple new ones, and I really did enjoy the new songs. And that was a big deal for this game, is that they get the original soundtrack back, because it really does invoke a lot of nostalgic memories from when you were in high school, and that's a good thing. The only problem with that is they seem to have omitted certain features from the game which were kind of part of the core experience back in 1999. For example, you have I can't remember specifically if the original game had camera control, but I would have liked to have seen some camera control in this game, especially when you're in a level searching for certain goals. It was really difficult to actually look and find out where these goals are so that you can actually perform a trick in order to achieve those goals. So I missed having some camera control, and the biggest omission, I feel, was the omission of split-screen local play. One day I sat down to play this game with my girlfriend and couldn't, because the multiplayer is only available over Xbox Live. The original Tony Hawk game had local split-screen play, and this game completely ignores that and doesn't put it in the game. And that really disappointed me, because that was some of the best memories I have of Tony Hawk. We're playing with my friends, and you can't do that when your friend's right beside you. You have to do it online, playing against faceless avatars. That was one cool thing I did enjoy, is that you can actually, instead of creating a skater in Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD, you can actually play as your Xbox Live avatar. So I spend most of my time running around as my gigantic-headed Xbox Live avatar, which made grinding certain ledges and getting your balance right a little tricky, but the game still remained relatively the same. There also is a couple additional modes you'll find in Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD, like Hawkman mode or Big-Headed Elimination, and these were a nice addition that do allow for some replay value. But the fact that there's only about 7 stages in this game, and most of them I've already played before, I quickly got tired with playing the same thing over and over again. So it's great for nostalgia, but you've already played this game before, so there's nothing really new here. Graphically, the game could have looked a lot better. Hair has always looked terrible in the Tony Hawk series, and this game is no exception. The hair looks awful. It looks like a flat mat coming down on the back of your character, and just looks really silly. I did also notice a decent amount of texture pop in when you load up a level for the first time, which kind of bugs me, this being a current generation game in 2012, not a game from 1999 that's running off a CD-ROM. So overall, the game is a decent throwback to 1999 and the gaming days of yore. I'm glad to see that Tony Hawk is back, and I really hope they do well with this revival of the series. However, I really think that this game needs to be supported with DLC, with extra maps, extra modes, and things of that ilk. If they don't do that and they just start releasing a bunch of new Tony Hawk games, I have a feeling we're going to end up in the same situation we ended up in the mid-2000s, where the game just sequels itself into obscurity. So for being a great throwback, but not being any kind of innovative and not very polished, I'm going to give this game 75 out of 100.